We hear the various candidates blustering and bellowing about what they'll do for you, what they'll change to make your life so much better, and how you are about to be so sick and tired of winning that you will experience moments of euphoria that could not be granted by the gods, or something like that. But far too often we have the issues of issues and the issues itself missing. And one of the more notable absences is when it comes to energy in America, lighting your homes, powering the cars, keeping the machines working. And it's in this area we far too often have to ask ourselves, do any of these candidates know what they're talking about? Welcome the Director of Upstream and Industry Operation for the American Petroleum Institute, Erik Milito, joins us. Erik, thank you so much for being here. And that's going to be my first question here, because when we hear about all these things, it seems to many Americans that right now all the candidates are basically tossing lip service at them when it comes down to the energy policy, and very few of them actually know what they're talking about in the first place.
Oh, it's a great point, Ed. I appreciate you having me on. And it's particularly concerning when we are now the dominant energy player in the world. We're the world's largest producer of natural gas. We believe that in short order we could become the world's largest producer of crude oil. This has had tremendous benefits from a national security standpoint, but also for the consumer. When you go and fill up your tank at the gas, go fill up your gas tank, you're paying $1.20, $1.40, $1.60. Nobody imagined this would happen. It's been because of the free market, U.S. innovation, U.S. engineering that we are now elevated as an energy superpower globally.
I get it that we now have, thanks to fracking and so many other things, that we have an abundance of oil in the world right now. Got it. Gasoline prices are down. Everybody's happy. That makes Americans and the rest of the world very happy when they don't have to worry about taking out a mortgage to put a tank of gas in their cars. But, Erik, isn't it also important that whomever these candidates are, they got to understand oil is not forever. You still need to think ahead. You've got to make sure that everything is done common sense-wise to make sure that we are ready for the future, yes?
Absolutely. And when you look at Department of Energy's projections, we do know that for decades to come, we're going to need all the above. And that includes oil and natural gas. In the year 2040, the expectation is that 60% of our energy is going to come from oil and natural gas. These are affordable, reliable sources. And we need policies in front of us put forward by candidates that embrace the fact that we have bountiful supplies here and that recognize that it's better to develop these resources here in the United States than to rely on other parts of the world.
Isn't that part of this whole argument to say that, look, when oil gets back to some sort of a realistic price point again, that these horizontal drillers are going to be right back again? Here they go, and the price of gas is going to go up.
Well, that's for sure a consideration we got to think about when we're talking about the future of energy production in the world. And you can't dismiss the fact that we've kept production levels up at a very high level. You know, they peaked at about 9.6 million barrels a day. We're still well over 9 million barrels a day. So we keep getting more efficient and more innovative and applying these technologies in a way that makes it more cost effective to get them out of the ground. But we got to make sure we don't have a regulatory environment in place, a energy policy framework put in place that makes it more costly to develop energy resources here in the U.S. and that therefore would make us less competitive globally. We got to be the global leader, and we got to have policies in place that ensure that.
Absolutely. About 2 minutes left right now. In the opinion of you and the organization as well, are there any candidates out there who actually get it and seem to understand what's necessary? Either side, Democrat or Republican.
Well, Senator Cruz from Texas, he recognizes the importance of energy development. He's from a state, and he's seen the benefits in his home state. Senator Rubio has gone out and brought in a very intelligent, a brilliant energy mind in Larry Nichols, who headed up Devon Energy for a long time and has helped pioneer the energy revolution and the benefits that we've witnessed. On the other side, we've seen some very negative comments coming out of Secretary of State Hillary Clinton in terms of leaving energy in the ground, which would damage, the energy revolution that we've seen, and it would actually hurt the consumer, it would hurt everyday Americans, because when you produce less energy, you have less supply, prices inevitably go up, and we're then again relying on other parts of the world. So we need to have policies in place that embrace and promote U.S. energy development rather than look to keep it in the ground, as we've heard from some of the candidates.
Fair to say that certainly Donald Trump, his official website does not discuss energy policies on the website, and this is something that the American people need to hear about. We in the media and other people need to ask the questions and draw this out of the candidates, correct?
Exactly. We'd like to hear specifics about the policy so that the voters, when they go to the polls in November, really understand where all the candidates are on the specifics. You know, how are we going to make sure that we have reliable supplies? How do we make sure the U.S. stands as a global energy leader for years to come?
I got about 20 seconds left. Is there any one specific part of the energy package, the program itself, that you believe needs to be focused on more than the others?
I think we need to look at it from a national security standpoint. We've got to ensure that when our allies come to the U.S. and they ask us to put our oil and natural gas on the global markets, we're taking it seriously and we're helping them so they don't have to rely on places like Russia and Iran for their supplies.
I think you bring up a great point, because sooner or later it all comes down to national security. It's what Americans are worried about right now, whether it's left, right, indifferent, right down the middle. They want that thinking process taken care of, and that's what the candidates deserve to tell these folks as well. Erik Milito, always a pleasure, my friend. Thank you so much for joining us. We will talk again. Now, the numbers tell us exactly what will happen next week and the days beyond, but do they really tell us in those polls? We'll find out more when we continue on The Hard Line.